You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic week. And NFL training camp is right around the corner. And NFL free agency is still picking up steam a little bit, even though the hot period has ended. So I got together with some people in the Chat Sports office today, and we had a conversation as to players the 49ers could look to trade away leading up to the season. And I want to start off with Jimmy Garoppolo, because as we know, the quarterback rumors around Jimmy G and the trade rumors specifically have been white hot for months now. Here's the issue with Jimmy G. It is not his ability. It is his availability. That's why the 49ers moved up to pick number 3 to draft Trey Lance, because they were tired of trotting out C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins. Kyle Shanahan wants a quarterback that is consistently available, and let's be honest, I like Jimmy G. He just has not been consistently available, and they did draft his replacement. So it's inevitable that at some point, Trey Lance is going to take over. So that leads to the discussion of whether or not Jimmy G is going to get traded. You look at his base salary the next 2 years, more than $24 million in 2021 and 2022. I think that makes him somewhat expendable. I talk about Jimmy G being a quality quarterback. That's not the issue. It's the health. He's 22-8 as a 49er starter, and back in 2019, we saw what he can do and what he is capable of when he's consistently on the field. Brought the 49ers to the Super Bowl, 13-3 record, number 1 seed in the NFC, and nearly defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. And in 2019, he was pretty good. The completion percentage well above league average at nearly 70%. Threw for almost 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. So for a guy with a Super Bowl-ready roster right now to also groom Trey Lance, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo could certainly be smart. But this is what has me thinking of a possible Jimmy Garoppolo deal. Sometimes the whole point of drafting a rookie quarterback is to play him, to have him on the cheap on his rookie contract. Having Jimmy Garoppolo on the team worth more than $22 million kind of throws that philosophy out of the window. And I think a Jimmy G trade is possible if Trey Lance flourishes. What if Trey Lance hits up training camp and is just dropping dimes? He's letting it rip. He's running the football at an elite rate. And this 49ers offense looks completely explosive. You know what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are going to do? They're going to say, we might have to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo. And here are some possible destinations they could send Jimmy G to. Pittsburgh Steelers, they are a win-now team. Ben Roethlisberger has fallen off a cliff the last couple of seasons. He, too, hasn't been able to stay healthy. That elbow is a concern for me. Maybe Pittsburgh looks to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. He could start right from the get-go. Washington football team, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Could they use the services of Jimmy G and be a playoff contender to maybe win their division? I do think so. Daniel Jones, big year for him entering year 3. If he just craps the bed, New York Giants could look to bring in a guy who can play at a Super Bowl caliber level. If Jameis Winston isn't the right answer for the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton could bring a lot out of Jimmy Garoppolo, and the same too is said for the Denver Broncos. Yes, they traded for Teddy Bridgewater, but is he better than Jimmy Garoppolo? No. Is Drew Lock? No, not at all. Now, while we talk about this Jimmy Garoppolo trade buzz, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have been firm that they do want to move forward into the 2021 season with Jimmy G. This is what John Lynch had to say about the prospective starting quarterback for this football team. Quote, he said, Jimmy, we want you to be here, and our ownership has made the commitment that we can do that. We can fit it in our cap, and we think it's a good situation for you. Probably not the one you ultimately want to hear. I'm sure you want to be the long-term guy. There's a flip side to that. You still could be, because he's going to have a chance to compete and earn that job, and we're just going to let that play out. But Jimmy is a really good football player. I know this is a sensitive topic for some 49ers fans out there, but you have to look at the realistic scenario of this, and a Jimmy G trade has to be put on the table. Now, Pro Football Focus, they did release their quarterback rankings, and they released them and put Jimmy Garoppolo at number 22 as the 22nd best starter across the entire NFL of 32 starting quarterbacks. You think that was disrespectful? Where does Jimmy G rank as a starter in the NFL? Pro Football Focus ranked him 22. What do you think? Rank him 1 to 32 for me. So I did my 53-man roster projection, and one of the most difficult position groups I had to decide on was running back, because the running back room for the 49ers is chock full right now, and it's led by Raheem Mostert. 49ers have a really crowded backfield, so what are they going to do? They're going to have to make some really difficult decisions on roster cutdown day. Raheem Mostert, he's been good when he's been on the field. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season, 29 years old, very cheap, base salary of only $2.9 million in 2021, which makes him a valuable piece for the 49ers because they really don't have to pay him all that much, but also a valuable piece for another team that could decide to trade for him if the 49ers decide to make some difficult roster decisions and go with the influx of youth talent, because at the end of the day, they did draft 2 running backs in the 2021 NFL Draft. Let's take a look at what Raheem Mostert is capable of when he's on the field. Great story, journeyman, undrafted guy. Back in 2019, during that Super Bowl season, he was really, really good. 137 carries, 772 yards, average yards per pop around 5.5. Also took it to the house 8 times as well. I think Raheem Mostert could be really good as RB1 for this 49ers team in 2021. But let's be honest. The 49ers obviously have plans for the running back position that includes some younger guys, because they did draft Trey Sermon out of Ohio State in the 3rd round, as well as Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana in the 6th round. You look at this 49ers running back room right now, I mentioned it being really, really deep. It is. Raheem Mostert, RB1, Jeff Wilson, RB2, Trey Sermon as the rookie. I think he's capable of stepping in and starting right away. The jump that he took from 2019 to 2020 was really, really impressive after he transferred to Ohio State from Oklahoma. Then you look at guys like Wayne Gallman, who currently is like running back 3, running back 4. This guy stepped in for Saquon Barkley last year with the New York Giants and had an awesome season. Elijah Mitchell, rookie. 4.3 speed. He's really been impressing during rookie minicamps, especially catching the ball out of the backfield. He too can play. And we saw last year in a short sample size that JaMycal Hasty can not only tote the rock, he's in his 2nd season and he is young as well. So when you look at this 49ers running back room, some difficult decisions to make, which is why guys like Raheem Mostert, maybe Wayne Gallman, who we're going to get to here in just a bit, could be on the trading block if the 49ers say, let's go with the young guys, Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. Let's not waste that draft capital. Let's see what these young guys can do. How many running backs will the 49ers keep on this 53-man roster? This comes down to team philosophy, but get into the comments, get your votes in down below. Type 3, 4, 5, or 6. Going into last year, I believe the 49ers held on to 4 running backs on the opening day roster. Gives you a peek as to what Kyle Shanahan might be thinking. The 49ers report is made possible thanks to our friends at Newsbreak. Now, on our phones right now, as I just dropped mine, we have a bunch of apps that we use on a daily basis. The Newsbreak app for me is one of my go-tos because on one single feed, you get your local news and weather, your politics, pop culture, and food, your sports content, and oh yeah, 49ers Report videos are also live on the Newsbreak app as well, bringing you the latest news and rumors. So basically what the Newsbreak app does, if you go and download it, chatsports.com/49NB, brings together all of your favorite local news sources and all of your local news from those sources on one single feed. One of the great features, you enter your zip code and basically it filters it. So if you're living in San Francisco, Santa Clara, Monterey, Oakland, any of the communities around there, you type in your zip code, you can stay up to date with all of the local happenings, in your neighborhood. And here's some more incentive as to why you should download the Newsbreak app with that link down below. Last week I asked you, 49ers Report, the faithful. Let's get moving here a little bit. We have to surpass the rival Las Vegas Raiders. You guys were able to do that because right now we have more followers on our Newsbreak page than the Las Vegas Raiders. But here's our next goal that we have in mind. Let's catch the Dallas Cowboys report. More than 1,100 followers. So download the Newsbreak app by going to chatsports.com/49NB. Follow the 49ers report, and let's catch the Dallas Cowboys right now. I'm going to put that link in the description as well as the comments. Some more 49ers trade candidates for you, and we go back to the well in that running back room. Wayne Gallman signed a 1-year deal worth little less than $1 million this past offseason. This last season back in 2020 filled in really nicely for Saquon Barkley when Saquon tore his ACL. And my whole thought process here is something that we talked about when we discussed Raheem Mostert. Could the 49ers go with Elijah Mitchell instead of Wayne Gallman? Or could they go with another young running back instead of Wayne Gallman, which would make him a little bit expendable? Now, last year with the Giants, Wayne Gallman was really good. And when the 49ers brought him in, I said, yo, this is a really good deal to get a player of this caliber worth less than $1 million, a guy who's still in his mid-20s. And I think he's fully capable of being a really good RB2, RB3, and a guy who can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Here's a peek, though, at what he did in 2020. 147 carries, 682 yards, 4.5 yards per pop, as well as 6 touchdowns. How about Elijah Mitchell, though? Hey, I'm really high on this prospect. 141 carries with Louisiana last year, 878 yards, average yards per carry north of 6, also 8 touchdowns. Here's something to keep an eye on for Elijah Mitchell. In his career at Louisiana, right, he played less than 50 games and had under 50 receptions. But in rookie minicamps last weekend, he really impressed this 49ers coaching staff with his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And when you're a rookie 6th-round pick, you come on the cheap. I want to look at this 49ers running back depth chart because I talk about it being really, really deep. This backfield is just loaded. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Wayne Gallman, JaMycal Hasty, Trey Sermon, and Elijah Mitchell. I mean, my goodness. You can only keep 3, 4, 5. It would be extremely rare to keep 6 guys. Maybe what the 49ers thought process is, let's move forward with Wayne Gallman. Maybe Elijah Mitchell, we can release him, bring him back on the practice squad, but you open yourself up to losing him somewhere else. Maybe the play is to trade Wayne Gallman. Last 49ers trade candidate, K'Waun Williams, cornerback who came back, re-signed with the 49ers this past offseason on a 1-year deal worth $2.24 million. Now, K'Waun Williams is a good cornerback, and he could start. He could also be a backup. But it's clear that the 49ers are looking into the future, and they are looking to bring in an influx of youth talent at the cornerback position. That's why they drafted 2 cornerbacks in the 2021 NFL Draft. Ambry Thomas in the 3rd round, later on in the 5th round, Diamador Lenore. So are the 49ers looking ahead and thinking about going younger? If they are, maybe K'Waun Williams could be a trade candidate. And on that contract of north of $2 million, he could be a really, really intriguing asset for a cornerback-needy team across the NFL if Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore are able to prove in training camp and in the preseason that they can step in and play right from the jump. I like the making of this cornerback depth chart: Jason Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, K'Waun Williams. And then you look at other guys too. Diamador Lenore has been impressing so far. Ambry Thomas has caught the attention of the 49ers coaching staff and front office. They use draft capital on those guys, so if they show in training camp as well as in the preseason that they can play right from the jump, maybe you give them some really valuable experience right from the jump and you trade away K'Waun Williams. This is what he did last year. 8 games, injury issues somewhat of a concern, 4 pass breakups, 1 fumble forced. Another team might look at him and say, okay, he's in his late 20s. He's shown before that he can play. He's got some versatility too on the outside as well as the inside. And you look at his numbers, hey, maybe he's a valuable asset that the 49ers could trade away and just let these young guys flourish a little bit. So what do you think the 49ers should do at cornerback? Type Y for it's going to be a youth movement. Type E for I'm leaning toward the 49ers having an experienced group this year because they do have a Super Bowl ready roster right now. Get your votes in down below.